that we are learning of. You were speaking about the iconic Eva Bridge that also collapsed in Myanmar. If we specifically talk about Thailand now, since there were tremors that were felt not just in Myanmar but also in Thailand, also in Vietnam, China, India, some parts, we are learning that this particular Bangkok area, Thailand capital, is home to 17 million people. They were really startled because of the magnitude of this earthquake. We saw buildings that have swimming pools on the terrace. There was water sloshing down the terrace. That was the kind of impact that the earthquake really caused when the building started to sway. Of course, there was a massive evacuation that was ordered. People came down to the streets, but they must have really gotten scared and startled.
Well, absolutely. Right now we are getting ground reports from Thailand. In fact, that is exactly what you were referring to. So the Greater Bangkok area, which is home to over 17 million people, known for many high-rise apartments, we could see visuals of startled residents rushing down from the high-rise buildings, hotels in central Bangkok, one of the most densely populated areas, gathered on the streets seeking relief from the sun in the moments following the quake. The tremors were so strong enough to cause water to slosh out of pools, including those on high floors of tall buildings. As the buildings swayed during the quake, many were evacuated for safety. The earthquake epicenter was located in central Myanmar, about 50 kilometers east of Monyava. While no immediate reports came from Myanmar, the country is currently in the midst of civil war. Let's forget that. There is an ongoing civil war which is already happening in Myanmar. There are many factions fighting with each other. And and amidst this, there is again earthquake, which with a strong magnitude has hit Myanmar. And let's again clarify this for our viewers that right now we are only getting reports from Bangkok, from Thailand. We are still awaiting or perhaps waiting for an assessment from Myanmar, what has happened in Myanmar, especially in where the epicenter is and around the epicenter. Perhaps going by the magnitude, 7.2, 6.4 strong quakes, we could expect devastation taking place in those areas. Perhaps right now, it's time to send prayers for the people of Myanmar, because if the tremors were felt in Bangkok and such strong tremors were felt in Bangkok, imagine what had been the situation at the epicenter, perhaps around the epicenter. So we are still awaiting for that assessment to come from Myanmar.
And also, once again, for our viewers, Siddhant, what time are we exactly looking at when the first earthquake struck Myanmar and Thailand?
Well, this afternoon, in fact, there were two earthquakes which hit Myanmar back to back, and in fact, the affected countries, if I talk about, then the affected countries are Bangladesh, India, Laos, Thailand, and China. So even some parts of China is also affected. The tremors have been felt in some parts of China bordering Myanmar. Laos, and tremors were felt in Laos, Bangladesh as well. And we were playing images of what has happened in Bangkok when people had to rush down from the buildings, and especially in the central Bangkok area, which is known for the high-rise buildings. Perhaps we could let's wait for some more time to put out the exact figures for our viewers, and the kind of what impact this earthquake has left on in Myanmar. But
Yes.
but the tremors, the distance between the epicenter of this earthquake in Bangkok is 900 kilometers. Perhaps one could epicenter right now. So we are still awaiting perhaps for the local media to report, and so that we can also report that the same for our viewers right now. But right now we only have the ground report from
Yes.
Bangkok, which is 900 kilometers away from the epicenter. So the affected countries are Bangladesh, India, Laos, China, and Thailand.
Absolutely, Siddhant. Thank you so much for that. So imagine 900 kilometers away from the epicenter, and yet you see a building, an under construction building, come crashing down because of the earthquake that impacted Myanmar. The epicenter was Myanmar, but the tremors were felt in neighboring countries like Bangkok, like Thailand, like India and also China to an extent, and that is the extent of damage. Both the images are from Bangkok. One of the high-rise building which has a swimming pool. You see the building swaying, the water sloshing out because of the tremors, and one under construction building. We are only hoping that there were no workers inside that building, which is still was under construction, and it came crashing down because of that earthquake. We will keep a big eye on this story because this concerns the country also. India is one of the neighbors of Myanmar, and of course there were tremors that were felt in India, in the northern part of the country, especially in Delhi NCR. This was 7.7 on the Richter scale. That was the first aftershock of 6.4 on the Richter scale, and we are only hoping that the damage is not as much, although we do see and hear of two collapses that have taken place, one of an under construction building in Thailand, and the other one the iconic Eva Bridge in Myanmar. Leaving it at that, we are now shifting our focus Richter scale. Then there was a second one that came, which was about 6.4 on the Richter scale, and the epicenter was in central Myanmar in the Sagang area, which is approximately 16 kilometers northwest of the city. Siddhant, these visuals that we are putting out for our viewers, a building has collapsed because of the impact of the earthquake. This is huge.
Well, absolutely. This is huge. And in fact, the kind of visuals we are getting from Myanmar, from Bangkok, perhaps, tells the real picture, what happened on ground. As we were discussing before, there were two earthquakes which struck Myanmar. And in fact, the tremors were felt in Bangkok. Immediately, the buildings were evacuated. We also have the visuals of people running down from their buildings. The tremors were felt in Bangkok. Imagine how strong the quake was. Even the iconic Eva Bridge in Myanmar has got collapsed into the river. The epicenter which we are getting to know was the Gang area in Myanmar. Now, as I was pointing out before, that right now it is too early to do the exact assessment of the damage. But prayers for the people of Myanmar right now. And we send our thoughts and prayers for them, because these two earthquakes were strong in magnitude, and in fact an iconic bridge in Myanmar has collapsed. Perhaps we could expect devastation also in some areas near to the epicenter, but right now we don't have any direct reports coming from Myanmar, and it is too early to do the assessment. As we have been discussing, that even people in Bangkok, Thailand's capital,
Yes.
have also felt the tremors. So, right now we don't have the exact assessment. All we are relying on is reports that we are getting from ground, and also the visuals that we are playing for our visuals from ground, for our viewers from ground zero in Myanmar and in Bangkok.
Right. So from what we are learning, as per reports, Siddhant, this building that we are showing is, I believe, from Thailand and not Myanmar. This is an under construction building that collapsed due to the strong tremors. So that is one destruction that we are learning of. You were speaking about the iconic Eva Bridge that also collapsed in Myanmar. If we specifically talk about Thailand now, since there were tremors that were felt not just in Myanmar but also in Thailand, also in Vietnam, China, India, some parts, we are learning that this particular Bangkok area, Thailand capital, is home to 17 million people. They were really startled because of the magnitude of this earthquake. We saw buildings that have swimming pools on the terrace. There was water sloshing down the terrace. That was the kind of impact that the earthquake really caused when the building started to sway. Of course, there was a massive evacuation that was ordered. People came down to the streets, but they must have really gotten scared and startled.
Well, absolutely. Right now we are getting ground reports from Thailand. In fact, that is exactly what you were referring to. So the greater Bangkok area, which is home to over 17 million people, known for many high-rise apartments, we could see visuals of startled residents rushing down from the high-rise buildings, hotels in central Bangkok, one of the most densely populated areas, gathered on the street seeking relief from the sun in the moments following the quake. The tremors were so strong enough to cause water to slosh out of pools, including those on high floors of tall buildings. As the buildings swayed